I got a chance to actually follow up with a good buddy of mine just recently. It was pretty neat because I've been actually following one of my teammates for probably the better part of what was it? I think like two to 3 years. But anyway, we actually used to wrestle back at University of Central Oklahoma, which was a Division II Powerhouse in NCAA. But anyway, the head coach has been David Jones, which everybody knows him as DJ. But one of my buddies I saw about 2 years ago. I had a pro MMA fight back in Newkirk, Oklahoma. Anyway, I got a chance to actually go down right after weigh-ins and get a chance to kind of spend a couple minutes with him. I stuck my hand out just like normal and said, hey, how you doing? What have you been up to? Anyway, I never actually graduated with a business degree. Anyway, my degree was in finance and marketing. But most people from Oklahoma, if you know anything about Oklahoma wrestling, we make up about half the Olympic team, or at least we have in the last, I want to say 3 Olympics that have actually been. Guys from OU, guys from OSU. But anyway, UCO is Division II Powerhouse, and usually every year we're up for the national title. But with all that being said, I got a chance to meet with my teammate, and he did graduate with a business degree, and a lot of those guys have a hard time getting, I don't want to say getting degrees or anything like that, but it's very challenging. You ever ask an Oklahoma wrestler what they actually went to school for, and they'll say, I actually went to wrestle. I mean, wrestling is our life. So a lot of guys get degrees in safety and education and different things like that. So, fast forward, guys like that go on from wrestling scholarships and they get their degree there. Dana White really wants to use them because they're really good for PR. MMA is made up of 4 sports. You got boxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and kickboxing. And out of all of those, there's only one of them that offers a scholarship. Anyway, not to get off track, but one of my boys, Kyle Evans, he actually was a 4-time All-American. And I got the chance to actually wrestle with him for 1 season. And it was really neat. One of the guys that was even on the team was a returning All-American, and his freshman year, he actually beat him out and actually went on to win regionals, and then he went on further to actually get, I think, 6th that year. Anyway, his senior year, he actually wound up being a 2-time back-to-back national champion. The neat part about it is that he got the chance to, be on a team with a couple other guys that were, returning 2-time or even 4-time national champions, guys like Cole Province. Cole was a 4-time national champion. But the neat part about it is that he actually went on to a career a little bit later after college, and he wound up working for guys like Johnson & Johnson. And if you guys know anything about Johnson & Johnson, back in '77, Johnson incorporated itself, and it's a publicly traded company, and it's trading, I believe, right now at about $97 or $98 on the New York Stock Exchange. But the thing about wrestlers is that they're workaholics. They're not, your 8-hour-a-day type of people. They're not even your 12-hour-a-day people, because before we can even compete or do anything like that, we're making weight 2, sometimes even 3 times a week. You might have a duel on a Tuesday, and before you can even wrestle, you guys have been losing like 15, 20 pounds, or maybe even more than that. You got tight, stringent restrictions from the NCAA. You might have a Tuesday duel, you might have a Thursday duel, and you might even have a tournament that weekend. So, like I said, there might be a 1-time or a 3-time weigh-in. There might, depending on what the circumstances are. But all the time, you're also trying to get a degree, and that's very challenging. Sometimes you don't have a chance to have a personal life or even a life just in general. I mean, it's just study, hit the books, try to get a little bit of sleep, and make this happen, and eat really, really healthy. Anyway, Kyle actually quit his job over this last year, working a solid company like Johnson & Johnson, and I don't think that really set well that wouldn't set well probably with the normal laden human being, because a lot of people really don't understand. You've got a solid company where you're probably going to get a 401k. Well, take for instance, me personally, if I had a job with Johnson & Johnson, I would say, okay, you know what, before I even went in there, I would say, you know what, I'm a two-time national champion, I'm a very bottom line person, I can get you these results, I can do this, boom, 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 because everybody knows, or at least should know, whenever you sit into an interview, you're actually, that's a sales position. You're selling yourself. You're saying, you know what, I can do this, boom, 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 boom. I can work 40 hours, 50 hours, 60 hours, 80 hours. I don't care. I'll get the job done. And this is how I've gotten results in the past. And what's not being said? And people know this. I mean, it's the 50s that if you have literally done a job, or if you've literally done any sport, you might have been in elementary, you might have been in middle school, you might have been in high school. But the thing is that wrestling was probably offered at your school, and if you ever tried out for wrestling, though, and everybody knows it's tough, you have to be in like peak condition. You have to be like, you can get broke off. So even some of the wrestlers that I know today, though, 85% of them tend to own their businesses or in some kind of like really important political position or jobs of that stature, or some guys are still literally grinding out there for their dream. I knew where Kyle was coming from a lot of times. Like I didn't talk to him a whole lot, but I knew where he was coming from mentally, meaning that for someone to be able to explain to a family, or somebody to be able to explain to a girlfriend or a wife, that you're about to quit your job, a very solid, reputable company that has literally been placing, international medical device or drugs or, prescriptions or pharmacy, or they have a plethora of portfolio. They're one of these solid companies that is almost like General Electric. General Electric does not just do energy. They do anything from textiles. They do like defense contractors. They're a group. They're like $1 trillion portfolio company. Anyway, aside from all that being, the point that I wanted to make is that, for the people that really depend on you, you have to sit them down and say, you know what? Here's the truth. I've done wrestling my whole life, or I've done fighting or MMA or anything my entire life. I don't feel like I'm being respected in the workplace because it's like starting over. And if you've literally sat in a company for 20 or 30 years, and I've been doing this for 28 years, that would make me an executive of a company. Somebody be asking me, are you the CEO, COO, or CFO, or CIO? Or, are you somebody that's important? Are you a board member? Or that's just my thinking. Well, the thing is that not all money spends. I remember whenever I used to work back with mortgage brokers and bankers and, real estate people, and I've watched all these intermediaries and all this stuff, and it was like I had to start all back over from the beginning, though. And the thing about it is that being a wrestler, if you stood across from another man or another girl, or even as a fighter, though, what's not being said. If they're lying. If they're full of shit. A lot of things about them. I'm not trying to make this an R-rated. I'll try to clean up my language a little bit, because the thing is that wrestling and MMA, all that stuff, it's about respect. It's hard to be able to chase somebody's business and to have them jump over every hurdle. You jump through the hoops, you zig when they zag. You might be spending time with your family, because sales and like marketing and all that stuff and being in business, though, like you're literally on call 24/7, though. But there was little honor in it for me, because I worked at the mortgage market whenever things were tough, and I was making a good wage at it, and it was because I wasn't willing to sell my integrity. If the loan wasn't good for you, then by all means it wasn't good for you. But I know that wrestlers don't cut corners. If they do, they know exactly what will happen if you cut corners, though. They know that there's no honor in it, there's no integrity, it's all a loss, though. You have to do the right thing over and over and over and over. So all I'm really saying is that I wanted to give, the guy and my teammate, kind of a little spotlight because, honestly, like that is a guy that, you got a 4-time All-American, a 2-time national champion. That's something to be applauded. To be able to say, you know what, I'm going to step down from this Johnson & Johnson life, and I'm going to go back into what I really love. The neat part about it is this: one day you'll actually grow up and you'll say, hey, you know what, I wish I just would have made myself happy, though. And there's sacrifices. There's lots of sacrifices in life, but I promise you, the guys in Oklahoma, because like I said, they're in a league of their own. They're like in a class of their own at wrestling. It doesn't matter if it's freestyle, Greco, or folk style wrestling. Every year, generally, we're up for the national title. We make up like half the Olympic team, and then, guys in MMA, they tend to go on. Or the wrestlers that tend to go on in MMA, though, there's a lot of friends that I have that are near title shots or really out there grinding, through the last 7 years, probably like the last maybe even decade. But it's really neat, though, to watch these guys from little, though. And we all knew each other back in the Midwest. So, like I said, a lot of the guys that a lot of the best athletes you've never even seen were born on a wrestling mat. And they really wanted to go for a gold medal or, for a world championship. And, man, like I said, it's neat, though. If those are really your dreams and you really have to fight for them, you have to really hang on because, even as Kyle actually made it back to University of Central Oklahoma this last year for nationals, they were actually ranked number 1 at one time. And then I think they got kicked down to 2, and then they went to the national championship, and then they wound up getting 3rd. But, man, to be able to go to a recruiting class and this and that, knowing, there's a lot of respect. There's a lot of humbling. There's a lot of things, though, because, just to be able to give fuel to somebody else's dream, for another wrestler's dream, to be able to get in there and be able to pick them apart and be able to show them the right fundamental things. And not only that, you're also giving back to gentlemen in their dream, and you're molding like the next generation. That's why like wrestlers always give back to other wrestlers. They're the pay it forward mentality. And I don't think you could ask for a better guy to probably be a coach there. So anyway, I know this was kind of a long talk. So anyway, I got a fight coming up May 30th or the second week of June. So right now we're trying to finalize and trying to do a lot of things with that. So I really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me, though. All right, bye-bye.